Welcome back to Roborecking Podcast, everyone. I am your host, Charles.
And I am your co-host, Mike.
Yeah, welcome. So, in today's episode, I think we're trying to finish the saga of my personal story for
We've been
I
trying
don't
for so
know
long.
for a long time now, and I think tonight is the night, and this episode is the episode. I think we're gonna
Really wrapping
try
it
to
here?
try to wrap it
Wow,
up,
okay.
hopefully. But I don't
Alright,
know. There's a
alright.
lot of things that happened, so.
Uh-huh.
So I think going off of like last episode where basically I got to enroll in high school, and the education system was obviously different. Like I couldn't get used to how big the kids were. Honestly, like 15, 16, like it didn't make sense to me that there are some big guys with mustache, like as a backliner, that's what they call like a football players or like a
Linebacks.
linebacks,
Yeah.
yeah.
What are North Korean high schoolers like in terms of their looks?
Their looks,
Uh-huh.
well, I can't say for like the entire like all North Korean,
Of course. Yeah.
but
what
at
you've
least
seen. Uh-huh.
yeah, at least like my friends were in high school, they look like kids. They look like they're small, like they're small,
Mhm.
and yeah, they don't look
No
like
facial hair.
no facial hair, no
muscle,
muscles, like pretty lean, like a short, and
uh-huh.
looks kind of like malnourished, which is
I
sad,
mean,
but
which is probably true. That it's not do they not only look malnourished,
They
they
are-
look so because they are so.
ah.
But yeah, that's just reality of North Korea. Right?
Yeah, but coming to high school, in Concord, it was in the beginning of like I would say like a decent like 1.5 year
Uh-huh.
of attending class. Like I had no idea what the heck was going on. Like I had zero idea of.
Did
like,
you what were your grades like, if I may ask?
Everybody gave me A.
Really? No, seriously?
For A for trying. No, I'm serious. Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah,
your
A for
grades were
trying.
fine, although
my
you
grade,
didn't really...
my grade was fine, but
Uh-huh.
there was one teacher who actually gave me horrible grade, right? The reason is because it was a world history, but I mean,
Uh-huh.
I love my world history teacher. We still keep in touch on Facebook.
No
and
way. Oh,
she
wow.
often texts me on Facebook. Congratulations, Charles! You got married, and you got citizens. She does that.
That's so awesome.
Yeah, she's
Wow.
amazing.
But she gave you a terrible grade.
I think she gave me like C minus.
That's not that bad.
And the reason is because
Uh-huh.
like imagine I don't speak any English,
Right.
and then all of a sudden you wrote a perfect paper.
Oh, I see.
So
How'd that happen?
so I ended up kind of like googling something,
Uh-huh.
right, on like my friend's computer,
Yeah.
while I was doing homework, and I basically copied it and I pasted it. It was the plagiarism, which
Of
is
course.
not good.
Charles.
But I mean,
Mm-mm.
what would you like?
Right.
I don't
Well, how would you
understand
know?
the concept of the English to begin with.
Uh-huh.
Like I have been in ESL for the past like year and a half, but
Uh-huh.
I'm not learning anything. It's like
Right, because it's not like they're teaching ESL in Korean.
right. It's all in English, and
Uh-huh.
and it was tough. And imagine like, oh, you have to write a paper on like, what do you think about like America dropping the bomb on Nagasaki, and like
Uh-huh.
I don't know, like what do
I
so
see.
it was
You
it was
just don't
very
even
tough.
you don't know what they're talking about. You don't know what to think
Yeah,
because you
and
don't have any context.
right, I have zero context on what like you're
Uh-huh.
talking about. And going to like U.S. history, like I had to take it for
Right.
to graduate. So
Mhm.
so here's what happened. So because like I was so my grade was fine until like a year and a half.
Uh-huh.
But from 2 years in, it started just degenerating really bad.
Really?
It was just,
Why?
like F, 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 F.
Uh-oh.
No, but I mean, like the only thing that I was kind of good at was like algebra, like number
Math,
problems,
yeah, yeah.
math problems, because like, oh yeah, 3 times 3, and it's like but all the other and also like a PE class.
Mm-hmm.
The reason being is because I mean, like a kid, who never went to school, and then the
Right.
next day you come to America, you just goes to high school. I wanted to, right?
Right.
I wanted
Yes, you did.
I
Uh-huh.
wanted to like study really hard, but
Uh-huh. Well, you didn't even know what that looked
there is
like.
I didn't really know what that's gonna look like,
Uh-huh.
and I have a limit too, like on how much I can take it in, right?
Yeah.
And there was like a limit, and there's like the fixed bandwidth,
Yeah.
And it was just getting like really bad, and eventually there was a high school within high school. So
Oh, okay.
there's a Conquer High, and then within the Conquer High there is subdivision called Summit High.
Oh.
So the Summit High is literally kids who got high all the time and couldn't pass the class.
No, really? Oh no.
So kids, yeah, it's kids for like a
It's
troublemakers.
children. Yeah, right. The
yeah,
children who are at risk.
at risk, basically at
Uh-huh.
risk. So they sent them there.
Uh-huh.
So basically, there is no homework there.
Oh.
You just need to show up, and you just need to do certain the classwork
Uh-huh.
so that you can graduate, basically.
Oh my goodness.
So I ended up going to that class, right?
Uh-huh.
And then if you go here and you can boost your GPA,
Mm-hmm.
and then you can come back to Conquer High. You just need to go there for a couple of
Oh, it's a temporary.
yeah, it's not like it's not
okay.
permanent,
Uh-huh.
right? So I was like, I don't know why,
Uh-huh.
because like, and and also like to a certain extent,
Uh-huh.
like because like my regular day of like a regular days are like, okay, I get up in the morning
Mm-hmm.
and I brush my teeth and I ride my bike to school, and then I go into the classroom, sit down there, don't understand anything.
Mm-hmm.
I'm trying so hard not to fall asleep. Imagine repeating that over and over again for a year and a half.
Wow.
It
And
was
because you still
exhausting.
don't know really what's going on.
I have zero idea. And now I'm barely getting used to like the class schedules and whatnot.
Uh-huh.
So it was tough, and I was on a blink of giving up. It's like I
Uh-huh.
can't do this. And on top of that, I have to work, right? I had to work.
Like literally employment? Like
Yeah, I had to work part-time. And that's
oh,
when I started
what?
going to like a sushi restaurant, and I'm working.
Oh, you're working while you're in high school?
Yeah,
Oh,
yeah.
no way. I didn't know that.
Yeah, so I started working at a sushi restaurant like
Huh.
since like 2013. So like the 1 year
Wow.
after I came to America. Yeah, and imagine like I'm in class until like 3:15,
Mm-hmm.
and then like I go home, and change and ride bicycle right to like sushi restaurant, and
You work
working
all
there.
Night.
Work until
from
like
there.
10, right?
Oh my
From 5 to
goodness.
10.
No
I
time to
ride
relax
back.
or
Right,
do
I ride.
homework?
Yeah, I
or-
ride back home with a bicycle. It takes
Yeah.
about 40 minutes to an hour to
Oh
get
my
home,
goodness.
and I get here at 11. I gotta take a shower. I go to sleep. So
Huh.
basically, at 12:30, I'm trying to fall asleep, and I have to wake up at 7 a.m. so that I can ride my bicycle and get ready, and get ready
Uh-huh.
to go to school. I mean,
Wow.
everyone goes through this, and which is okay.
Well, does everyone go through this? I don't know if like the high school kids have to worry about making a living there, because it wasn't that you were working just because you wanted to. You had to, right?
Yeah, I had to because so there was a rule in the Catholic Charities of Santa Clara County, right?
Yeah.
Which is the Refugee Resettlement Agency,
Uh-huh.
and I appreciate them dearly, and I appreciate them greatly because they've have helped me to be where I am today.
Yeah.
Essentially, without them, like I don't know where I would be. But one of the things that they did, they I guess advocated for is like while you're in school,
Mhm.
you have to work part-time because like
Oh.
it's to teach you like this kind of skill sets, right?
Oh,
So
so
while
that
you're going to
was
school-
about like re-education and reintegration into
Right,
the society.
right.
Oh,
Yeah, which
okay.
I appreciate which I appreciated a lot
Uh-huh.
because like that gave me opportunity to learn like what a society is like, right?
Yeah.
Reintroducing introducing me to like capitalism, right? So you work and you get paid as much as you work, right?
Was
So
that a
hourly-
weird concept to you, like at first?
I used to work at coal mine for rice.
Oh, so you
not for
knew-
money.
Oh, so getting
right.
wait, so this was the first employment where you worked
To-
and got
for money.
paid.
For money, yeah.
Wow,
Especially restaurants, yeah.
That's wild. First-
Yeah, so it was really cool, like
Uh-huh.
to get like the paycheck,
Yeah.
right? And have my name on it, and and depositing that into like a Wells Fargo bank. It was just awesome. Like the feeling was awesome,
Mm.
and since I was making like $450,
Uh-huh.
like a week. Was it $450 a week?
That's a lot.
No, I don't
No?
think.
Uh, I mean, I don't know.
I think it was 2 weeks actually.
Oh, right,
Yeah,
bi-weekly pay
bi-weekly.
period. Oh,
Yeah,
I see. Yeah, that
per pay period.
seems more like it for the
450.
time being for a part-time unexperienced first grader. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, and depositing that, and
Uh,
like $900, a month.
yeah. Oh, that's solid.
Yeah,
Yeah.
which is pretty good,
Uh-huh.
considering that I get like a stipends
Right. So
from
that's not
the
your only income.
right. That's not
Mhm.
the only income that I have, and also like, oh, here's the thing too, um, like when I got to the foster care home, like
Mhm.
yeah, I think this is where we left off last time. It's like the foster care homes, like some foster families are great, right?
Uh-huh.
They really
Yeah.
put in
That's right.
like the work, and they care for these foster kids
Mhm.
just like as their own.
Mhm. That's
But
right.
for some foster families, like the main reason why they try to take care of their kid, like the foster kids, is
Mhm.
for money. That's
Right, yeah.
that's the only reason.
Yeah, it's sad, but the
Yeah,
reality.
yeah.
Uh-huh.
It is unfortunate, but I mean, also at the same time, like the dad that I was, like the foster care
Mhm.
home dad,
Mhm.
he just straight up said, "Yeah, I want to open up a restaurant." That's why,
That's why he's doing foster care,
yeah,
not
yeah.
because he cares about the
No,
children or
I mean, like he's like, "Oh yeah, I care about you, and
Uh-huh.
I welcome you, and I will take you to church and everything." But he's like, "Yeah, the reason why I
Oh,
started is because I wanted to
I
start a
see.
restaurant."
Okay.
The foster care mom she was really nice.
Oh. Was that I assume this foster mom was married to the foster dad?
That's right.
Yeah, okay.
That's right.
Mhm.
That's right. And this foster care home family, they had about 8 or 9 foster kids like previously,
So they went through
before
different I
different
see.
kids.
Okay,
Yeah.
so not their first rodeo by any means.
No. Yeah.
Uh-huh.
And at the time when I arrived, there were 2 different kids, 2
Uh-huh.
different foster care kids, and one of them I was in a bunk bed with, and then
Oh.
one another girl. And from what I recall,
Uh-huh.
almost every single one of them had issues, and their social worker actually replaced them to different housings.
Oh, the
Because
issue with the foster
foster
parents that you
family,
were
that's
with?
correct.
Oh,
That's
I
correct.
see.
And so did I. Like
Oh.
one day, I came back home from school and I get a mail, right?
Mhm.
And within that mail, there's $1,000 check for me to spend,
Oh, right.
right? And then I showed that to foster care dad, and then he's like, "Oh, let me take care of that for you," right? So he wants to take
Mm.
it, but I'm like, "No, like I want to keep it."
Uh-huh.
And then he's like, "Okay, you keep it, but don't spend it. Don't spend it. Don't spend it." What I do next day, I go out, I cash out, and I go buy a Samsung phone. And when I come back, he gets pissed, right? And he's
Wow.
making up all these excuses of like, "Oh, you could have saved that money for you." I mean, I understand, like, which makes sense, but he didn't
Yeah.
have to get that angry.
That's true.
Like, he
Yeah.
was like screaming at me,
Uh-huh.
and then I had to like, and then eventually he's like, "Go to your room," the kind
Uh-huh.
of thing. And then I come back, and then I call my social worker. He's like, "Yeah, he's yelling at me. I'm afraid."
Uh-huh.
And then the social worker came next day, and eventually it didn't work out. So he placed me to another house, which also I ended up calling 911 for, because this guy was
Right.
just drunk and high all the time, and then yelling at me. And then the next day, I got moved to another house.
Uh-huh.
So while going to high school,
Right.
while working, all this is happening at the same
Oh,
time.
all at the same time. Okay.
All at the
I mean, I
same
think I
time.
heard the foster care story a little bit before
Mhm.
on the previous episode, but I didn't know that it was all simultaneous while you're working, while you're going through
Yeah,
school.
yeah.
That's too much. Oh my goodness.
It was tough. It was tough.
Yeah, I
And
bet.
also I was going to church, right? Because
Uh-huh.
like
Yeah.
I got baptized in Korean church, because I believe in God, and
Uh-huh.
I believe God is great, and He saved me from.
That's interesting. Did the Catholic charities were they involved in helping you find a church, or how did that happen?
So the name is just the Catholic Charities, but it's
Uh-huh.
just a non-profit. I
I
think
see. So it's they're not associated with Catholic churches
no, no,
necessarily.
no, no, no. Yeah,
Oh, yeah. I mean, Catholic just means universal, so I guess there's that.
yeah,
Um, so yeah, how did you find a church then?
yeah. So that was my foster mom. Like she took me to Chinese
Oh,
church for a while, like
okay.
for decent like 3 months or
Is that
four
the church they
months.
were already attending?
Yeah, they're yeah.
I
It's a church
see.
that they were
Okay.
attending because
Uh
they're
huh.
Chinese, like Malaysian.
Got it. Okay.
Um, so I did go to like a Chinese church, and again, same thing again. Like I don't understand anything, like what they're talking about.
The service
It
and
it
stuff is
just
in
it
Chinese.
feels like a nightmare, because
Oh,
like
although you spoke Chinese a little
broken
bit.
Chinese,
Uh
yeah,
huh.
yeah,
So it
broken
was not enough to
Chinese.
follow the church service and
No,
stuff like
no.
that.
So
Okay.
so so I think well, I guess I spoke Chinese better than English
At
back
the time,
then at the
yeah. Uh huh.
time, right? Because like at home, like I was using Chinese, with the dad,
Oh.
yeah,
Oh
because he
wow.
couldn't speak like English to me because I don't understand, but I
Oh
did
right.
understood like some of the Chinese that they're talking about.
Ah.
So he spoke Chinese to me,
Oh,
and I would speak
interesting.
Chinese back.
Ah.
Um, so yeah, the only place that I could speak Korean was at the sushi restaurant, right? Because I want to go to work because the boss is like Korean.
Right.
Um, yeah, and then like simultaneously, like I'm getting kicked out or I'm moving, and then I
Wow.
also went to go live with this Korean lady, who was my
Oh.
translator, right?
Oh.
She was a
Okay.
translator, Korean lady,
Uh huh.
but when I went to their house, like I've never learned like what like
Oh, like
hoarder.
hoarders. Yeah, they
Yeah,
hoard stuff.
yeah, they just like store everything,
Uh
right, from their
huh.
entire life. And then the first time she can pick me up, right,
Uh
at the
huh. Yeah.
school. Yeah, so yeah, it's like because my social worker found this lady after the police incident, right? I called the police,
Uh huh.
and then I got
Drunk guy.
escorted
Uh huh.
out.
Yeah.
Um, and then the next day, because I couldn't sleep the whole day, and then I went to school. I couldn't sleep the whole night because
Mm-hmm.
like he was yelling and everything. And then
Wow.
police came that night, and
Uh
then it's
huh.
like,
Uh-huh.
oh yeah, you're not allowed to talk to him. If he calls 911 again, we're going to throw you in jail.
Oh
And then
wow.
basically they left. And that night, like I couldn't sleep
And
because like
this
I was
person that
afraid.
the guy that you had the police incident with was a foster host, right?
No, no,
it
he was
just
not a
another.
host at all. He was just I'm just renting a room.
Oh,
Now
gotcha.
by this
Okay.
time I'm already 18, right? I'm already
I see. So
18.
you're out of the
Therefore,
system at this point.
right, because I can't be in a
Oh,
foster care
got
system
it.
anymore
Okay.
because I was 18.
I see.
Yeah, and then the next day, this lady comes, because my
Mhm.
translator, and she opens her car door, and from the back seat to the passenger seat, mails stack. The car is basically stacked with the mails.
Mail, like the snail mail, the thing you get in the mailbox.
Paper, yeah,
Papers?
paper mails stacked.
Wow.
Like I can barely sit down, and there are cigarette butts in the car everywhere.
Does she smoke?
Yeah.
Oh,
Cigarette butts
oh my
and
lord.
mails. It's not a good combo in a car because you could get it's a
That's
fire
right,
hazard.
Yeah,
It's
absolutely.
a fire
Oh
hazard.
my goodness.
It's everywhere, right?
Oh, no.
And then I'm like, where do I sit?
Uh-huh.
And then I got in the car and we drove to her house. And I'm not kidding. Within the house,
Uh-huh.
there is a path, and then on the side of the
Uh-huh.
like a on the side like a mountain of like bottles and like mails,
No.
and all this kind of like different junks.
Uh-huh.
And in the floor there is like it looks like a path. It's like a dirt road. It's basically looks like a dirt road because they wear
Inside of the house.
inside of the house,
Okay.
like because she was wearing shoes in the house, right?
Uh-huh.
She never cleaned it. And there is like a path, like it's footprints, like find like dust, like it's like compounding dust
Oh no.
on the floor. I'm like, what the hell is this?
No.
Like,
and where did you live in that house?
So she had like I think she had like a two different. So it was a 2 bedroom,
Uh-huh.
2 bathroom,
Oh.
like house,
Oh, interesting.
and they had a
Okay.
really nice backyard.
Uh-huh.
And she was a hoarder. She was really bad, and she was
Wow.
she was divorced, and she was also saying that she's about to lose the house because she couldn't pay her bill.
Oh.
and that's the only reason why she took me in
Oh, to pay the bills.
to pay the bills.
Oh.
And then this lady, like while I was in school, like
Uh-huh.
I have like my cash, like before, like I didn't know like the like a credit card, like or debit card kind of
Yeah.
concept. So I like to have my cash on my
I
hand.
see, gotcha.
So I had like a I think like a few $100 in the envelope, right? In
Uh-huh.
the with like a $50 bills,
Uh-huh.
and then I put it in my drawer, and then also toilet papers too. And this lady, well, I don't know. Maybe I'm accusing of somebody for doing something
They maybe
they
didn't
didn't,
do.
you know.
Okay.
But when I came back home, like I stacked my toilet paper on the desk,
Uh-huh.
and there was just a little bit of it. There wasn't a lot,
Uh-huh.
and one roll was missing, and then $50 was missing
Oh no.
from my envelope. So I'm like, I thought about it. I was like, wait, what? Like, I know, I had it. Am I tripping?
You sure you didn't spend it?
No, I did not
see.
spend
Those
it.
are your
No,
savings.
those are my savings. Yeah,
I
so I
see.
didn't have it in
Uh-huh.
my debit card. And then I went, and then cause like it happened before. She came into my room multiple times because she had cats and dogs as well.
Uh-huh.
So cats and dogs. So she would come into my door because there's no lock. So she would come
Uh-huh.
into my room and then open the window so that her cats can get in,
Oh.
and
I
sometimes
see.
like close it, right?
Uh-huh.
So I noticed that she's coming in, but I've really didn't like think much of it.
Uh-huh.
But now my things are missing, toilet papers and $50.
Toilet paper is a weird thing to steal, but okay, yeah.
Hey, but I mean, we know that during the pandemic,
Yeah,
you know what
that's
happened with
true. I don't know
toilet
if anybody
papers.
stole it, but people definitely stockpile some TP. Yeah.
Yeah. So I confronted her and like,
Uh-huh.
hey, did you come into my room?
Uh-huh.
And she said, yeah, I went into your room.
Uh-huh.
And I asked her, did you take my toilet papers? And did you take my money? And she's saying no.
Uh-huh.
But I mean, like, then who did?
The cat.
Maybe the cat. And then eventually it didn't work out.
Uh-huh.
So I ended up going to live with. So while I was living with this lady,
Uh-huh.
I was still working at the sushi restaurant,
Right.
and I met this guy, South Korean dude who was attending DVC. So
Diablo Valley. Yeah.
yeah. So South Korean dude, right?
Yeah.
And he was living with his girlfriend at the time. And then I told him my story, and like, yeah, I'm from North Korea, and he was so moved, right? And it's like,
Of course.
hey, you know what? You can move in with me.
Wow.
Like he had a really nice house. I'm not sure if you know where the Galindo Street is in Concord.
I do not know.
Yeah, it's a nice apartment. They got their own movie theater. They've got their
What?
gym, and they've got the
Movie
pool.
theater?
Yeah,
No
it's
way. Oh,
crazy.
wow.
Yeah, it was so nice. It was the nicest place I've ever been at that point.
I
right?
see.
Because
Okay.
it's like own theater, own gym.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was really cool. And then so after the toilet paper and the $50 incident, I went to go live with him.
Uh-huh.
And he was really nice. Like he was a cool dude.
Just out of the goodness of his heart.
Yeah, out of the goodness
right.
of,
Just to-
goodness of his heart, like basically doing. But here's the thing too. Like our personalities were
Uh-huh.
completely different, right? And
Oh.
for me at least, like there was like unprocessed trauma that I never learned to like how to deal with it.
Right.
So for me, it's more of like when I meet friends,
Uh-huh.
like I was like, oh yeah, I'm going to take advantage of you because you're less than I am, or it's like I'm smarter than you,
Uh-huh.
or it's like I have to survive. It's like it's either you
Interesting.
or it's either me kind of thing.
Oh, okay. So that's what you're thinking? Or
Yeah, that's what I was thinking
oh
too.
wow, okay.
Well,
Uh-huh.
maybe I wasn't thinking that, but
Uh-huh.
like somehow he saw it that way.
Oh.
Like, cause like cause like he's buying the groceries, and he's buying
Uh-huh.
all the like drinks, and he's paying the utilities, and
Yeah.
like of course I'm paying him rent, like $500. I mean that money was a lot. Like back then, like back in 2000,
Yeah,
like
in Concord.
14,
Uh-huh.
like the
Yeah.
house was like $1,200, right? I mean
Wow.
the apartment
Wow.
was like $1,200, and
So,
I'm paying
okay. So
$500.
you're paying your fair share. at
Right,
least,
right.
Yeah.
And he often cooks like a lot of times, and
Oh.
he's doing a lot of nice things, but like I'm just taking advantage of it. It's just like I'm not doing anything else. Like,
That's how he saw it.
yeah, like, cause like
I
he
mean,
would
that's
expect
but
like,
that's not necessarily what you were doing, right?
yeah. I mean, I was like, yeah, you're my hyung.
Yeah,
I was kind of thinking of like
I
literally
see.
like being a hyung, you
I see,
know,
brother.
and
Yeah.
like a brother, and yeah, he's really nice. Like he's
Uh-huh.
treating me so nicely. You know,
Mm.
we drive everywhere together. You know, we hang out all the time, and
Uh-huh.
we play games together. You know, so
Mhm.
for me, it's like he's really nice. You know, and I don't really have to do anything else.
Mhm.
Besides just paying him rent, and he, you know, cooks me food, you know.
Uh-huh.
But I guess he was expecting something else too. Like, oh yeah, you should be like I mean, of course, like I should be paying my own groceries. You know, I should be buying a
Yeah.
lot. Like I shouldn't touch his things. Like I should
Mm.
not like touch his things. Like I should not touch his like groceries.
Oh, I see.
Like
So,
eating his food
oh, I
and like
see.
drinking his like, you know, Coke, and you know, and a
Right.
lot of things that are like his.
So small things kind of started to become more of a
Bigger
conflict, seeds of
things, yeah.
conflict. Okay.
And then eventually he's like, yeah, sorry.
It's not working out.
Yeah, it's not working out.
Oh.
So you gotta go. But like I think about like yeah, eventually we got reconnected,
Uh-huh.
and then he was also into like a lot of like YouTube too. Like he wanted to do like a YouTube, you know, and
Yeah,
he
okay.
wanted to do bloggings.
Uh-huh.
And then I saw him on Instagram, and he has like a link to it, right?
Uh-huh.
And then I was curious.
Yeah.
So I clicked on that link, and it took me to his YouTube,
Mm-hmm.
and he had a channel full of content that is dedicated to talking trash about me.
What?
Yeah. So in
What?
one of the episodes, like
Uh-huh.
you know, I was kind of like I was kind of expecting like some good things, right? And the title says like North Korean kid, right? So I was like, oh, he's talking about me. So I clicked on it, and I'm just like, what am I hearing right now?
No, he made a content out of you. And
Yeah.
you didn't know that this was
I did
happening.
not know that. Yeah.
What? That's crazy.
Yeah. So I was just so surprised, and it was like even much later. Like this was like because I used to live with him like back in
Oh.
2014, right? And now this is like 2018, like 2019, like 4 years later. And he made a content out of like, oh yeah, living with a North Korean kid, you know, and just talking trash about me. It's like, oh yeah, he's eating my groceries. Like I was being trying to nice to him, you know, but he was taking advantage of me, you know, and all these comment sections are just like, oh yeah, I know a North Korean dude in South Korea, but of course, like he went back to South Korea,
Wow.
and then he's talking like, you know, he shared like he made a video out of like, you know, I was just so like stunned, right?
Yeah,
And
no,
in one of his
anybody would
videos,
be.
he's saying, yeah, so it's like he's taking advantage of me, and he was living his life like it was either him or me. So I'm like thinking, I don't much like quite remember that, but like I
Okay,
mean,
well,
he might
you
have
had-
perceived it that way.
Well, it seems like he's just projecting that onto the situation instead of it being you never had those intentions.
I did not. No.
Yeah,
Yeah.
no,
I
I
had
mean,
I
you-
had no intention to
What
like
are
take
you're
it.
just a kid. How old are you? 18, 19?
At the time, was it like 19, 20? Like
Oh,
19
come
or
on.
20?
Like, you let any kind of college kid live with you. I would expect that of any college kid. You just let him in, and I mean, at least the kid's paying rent, right? That's just not fair. I think that's not fair. I don't think you had that mindset at all. It's funny that you brought it up. Like, perhaps I have thought that, but I don't think you did, right?
No, yeah, I was just thinking like really nice, you know, how nice of him.
Yeah. Again,
Um,
you're 19. Come on, you know. Yes. Yeah. All right. Shame on him.
Yeah. Anyway, so you know, I wish him the best. Like,
Yeah.
yeah, I wish because like when I saw the content, he was just like, yeah, it just really shook me. You know, it's like wow, it felt because like I really looked up to him. You know, and
right.
even like he didn't say, oh, it's not working out. He's like, oh, I gotta move out.
Uh-huh.
Like he didn't tell me like, oh yeah, I don't like you anymore, so
Uh-huh.
can you move out? But
Uh-huh.
instead of saying that, he said, oh, I have to move out of this house.
Oh, so you need to find your own place.
Yeah,
now.
so you need to find your
Oh, I
own
see.
place
Got it.
now. So I was like, oh yeah, that's fine.
Mm-hmm.
And then after that, I was really depressed because like he was really nice, person
Yeah,
to me. Right?
it's
He
like
was,
you lost a family member.
right. And,
Yeah.
and I lived with him for like decent like 6 months.
Wow.
So I really liked him, and I always kept in touch with him.
Uh-huh.
And then like I didn't know that he was doing that. Like he's uploading these videos of talking trash about me
Uh-huh.
on the YouTube. Behind my back, and I'm like, I don't know how did I not find out about this for 4
Yeah.
freaking years. But yeah, it was really shattering, and yeah, it was very challenging,
Mm.
and from that point on, like I went to go live with another guy, another like well, my social worker found me a place,
Uh-huh.
an attic. So
Oh, okay.
yeah, they found an attic of a house, and then this owner of the house had a son
Mm-hmm.
who, I would say, he was an interesting fellow. He was a very interesting fellow. Like
Your
he,
life is full of interesting fellows.
like he was at the time he was
Uh-huh.
27 when I
Yeah.
was like 21.
Uh-huh.
So we hung out a lot.
Mhm.
Like, and he had a 7-year-old daughter when he was 27.
Oh wow. Wow.
I think no, she might have been like 10.
The kid was 10. So
Yeah.
so this
10 or-
person
no, 10 or
like,
11.
had a child really early.
Yeah, when he
Okay.
was a teenager.
Oh.
Um, and there is a saying in America, misery loves company.
Yeah. Mhm. Yeah, it's Korean word. Do you know the 사자성어? The Korean 동병상련.
Oh,
Yeah.
상년?
That it means yeah, like you have compassion for those who have the same illness as you or same challenges as you, right?
Oh, there we go. We've got 2 viewers.
Yeah, so I guess we should explain this to the
Oh,
listeners who
I
may
see.
not have context for this because this will become an episode as well. So
Yeah.
Rubber Ducking Podcast is broadcasting live now on
Mhm.
YouTube every week
Yeah.
whenever we do film, which
Mhm.
is every week.
Mhm.
And we're trying to have some live engagement with the audience as well. So we're monitoring the chat and commenting on that our one of 2 of our fans have joined today. So thank you for joining today. And please, what can the listeners search on YouTube to find you, Charles?
Charles, North Korea.
That's right.
There you go. I mean, they're already on YouTube, but if you I do have like 24, 25 episode on Spotify
Or
Or
wherever
working-
you get your
yeah,
podcast.
wherever you get your
Uh-huh,
podcast.
uh-huh.
So yeah, basically I was just sharing my story of going through high schools and meeting friends and just moving house to house. It was not an easy resettlement for me. It was a very challenging
Yeah, it seems that
resettlement.
it took you a while. I mean, so a couple observations I have. Although your life, just all the challenges of escaping North Korea has ended, now you're facing brand new set of challenges. Now
Mhm.
having to work, the language barrier, the school, and just essentially you have not yet escaped your nomad life,
Not yet. Yeah, it's like
moving
my
place to place.
my livelihood is always like changing.
Yeah,
right? And
you're on
always
the
like,
move constantly.
constantly. Yeah.
Uh-huh.
And also I guess like I was just so used to it. Maybe like this is also how I thought about it,
Uh-huh.
right? It's like, well, it's because like I don't know how to deal with problems. Like I try to run away,
Really, that's what you thought of yourself?
Yeah, because I mean because
Really?
right? So from like the first moment, right? It's
Uh-huh.
like my foster family,
Yeah.
right? Sure, we have issues. Of course, like they're strangers,
Uh-huh.
right? And they are strangers to me
Uh-huh.
and I am strangers to them.
Mm-hmm.
Right, and there are clear issues, right? And sure, he got mad and he got angry, and I don't know whatever reason that they have it in the back, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like if I were to be like willing to work it out, it's like if I were to be like, hey, like yeah, I'm sorry I spent $1,000 on buying phone. That was a stupid decision, and I apologize, right?
Uh-huh.
I mean, I didn't speak that good of a Chinese or English, so I couldn't have really
I
communicated
mean,
that.
that's
But if I
exactly.
did,
Sure, sure.
if I did, right? And then to this guy who was an alcoholic,
Uh-huh.
right, and who smoked pot all the time,
Uh-huh.
like if I did, like, I'm sorry I left my shoes out there,
Uh-huh.
that made you trip. I'm sorry, I will not do that again,
I
right?
see.
Instead of like when he got mad, I called the police.
I see.
Right? Because and
I
then
see.
also like another thing, when like and this Korean dude, like it was honestly just like I didn't know what was happening,
I
kind
mean,
of
you don't know
thing.
the customs of what you're supposed to do. It's not like the dude told you, like, hey, when we live in a situation like this, you're supposed to help with this. You're supposed to not touch these, or you're supposed, right? He didn't
Right.
teach you the boundaries or how to live a life in, I don't know, as an American roommate.
Yeah, yeah. We're basically like a housemate, right?
Uh-huh.
And I've never had housemates.
Yeah, just family.
Yeah,
Uh-huh.
and if he were to be like honest up front of like yeah, that I think that was like a really like an unfortunate case because I never knew like he was thinking that, and
Yeah, and how
didn't
old was
really
he
know.
at the time?
He was like 25 at
Okay,
the
so
time.
he was also pretty young.
Yeah, he was a
Right.
kid
I
too.
mean, that age, you're just figuring out your life still.
Yeah,
And
yeah.
having roommate
And he was
issues.
also living with his girlfriend too at the time. Like so,
Oh,
we
I
three of
see.
us lived there.
I see.
Um,
Okay. I mean, for all we know, it was his girlfriend who was unhappy, not him.
Sorry. Sorry.
For all you know, it was a girlfriend who was like, "Yo, get
Oh
with
yeah,
this guy."
yeah. Maybe that was it.
Yeah.
Maybe that was it.
But
We got a comment saying in the
Yeah.
last episode you skipped over a lot of stuff. You went from just escaping North Korea to suddenly escaping China. Did you do a live episode between two,
I see.
26 and 27? We might have.
Yeah. Thank you for noticing that.
Yeah.
And-
Epic Hawk.
Yeah, what amateur mistake for us. We better go review and make sure that your story, if we missed an episode there, because after escaping North Korea, crossing over to China for the second time, we had a brief, maybe an episode or two at most, I think, that talked about your journey through the Southeast Asia to the Thailand, the jail, right, the Thai prison.
Yeah.
So
yeah.
we definitely have that recorded, and it seems like it's a good idea for us to revisit that and
Yeah,
see where we are
absolutely.
at that. Okay, well,
Mhm.
thank you for the comment.
Yeah, thank you for noticing too. Yeah, and okay, where was I?
I mean, you're just talking about different. Oh, and here's an observation. So I think this is something that is pretty common in immigrant communities, small immigrant communities, South Korean, and I'm sure it's the same for North Korean. Coming to a different country and figuring out how to do life in a foreign context is hard for anybody. But a lot of people, I think, get discouraged to venture out. They don't think that it's like, oh, how could I have, done better in the situation that I say, quote unquote, ran away from or made a mistake. And something I think I noticed about you compared to, other folks that we've interacted with or just the other immigrants that I've known myself, being an immigrant myself, it's so easy to just say, it's like, yeah, the world's a terrible place. And that's why things suck. And I just got unlucky. And also, like, after a lot of you can get really jaded. Right. And I think I've seen a lot of people, especially the first generation immigrants who just landed in the United States or anywhere else, really, just getting jaded and feeling like they don't belong and just having a hard time. But it seems that you just figured out a way to get back up and keep dreaming.
Yeah. That wasn't always the case though, because first of all, thank you, Mike, for saying that. I mean, I think. Yeah, it sure was tough. And just it was really tricky navigating, through like, friendship and like the life, and even like the society, right? Coming from like all I knew was just to survive today. And then now I've given all these choices and freedom and option of like you can do whatever you want, right? And basically food is provided, which is very nice. Like the roof is provided, which is very nice. Though I was just hopping place to place every single day. I mean,
But I guess you were never on the street, or
I wasn't
Wow, okay.
until.
Uh-oh.
Well, I wasn't technically on the street,
I see, gotcha.
but yeah. So yeah, so it was really tough. And one of the things that I struggled the most, right? And because of like all this kind of like, not just the, I guess I would say I would call it a trauma, right? Of North Korea
Yeah, absolutely.
and coming to America, but like having to move, from place to place, and trying to learn how to socialize and
Mhm.
trying to be like not like there's a word my pastor talked about this a couple of weeks ago. um was it it's some kind of hyper fine react, or
Hmm.
it's like when somebody asks you like how are you, then your auto response is like I'm good, how are you?
Yeah. Right.
It's like a what is that called, like a hyper fine react, I guess.
Huh. I've never
There's
heard of that, but yeah, it's just
yeah
it's just your reflexes now. It's like,
yeah, so a lot of times like like I'm just saying yeah I'm okay, I'm fine,
uh-huh,
but I was lost, like I didn't know what I was gonna do with my life, and just
uh-huh.
this kind of like the years of like it's been like 3 years now, right, since I came to America. It's like 2012,
Yeah, at
2015.
this point in this story, right?
Yeah, so in
Yes.
this
Uh-huh.
point in the story,
Yeah.
yeah. So like yeah, I've tried to like attend school, and
Mm.
I'm really bad at it. I'm failing my classes. I have
Uh-huh.
to be relocated to another school to boost my GPA.
Uh-huh.
And everywhere I go, it's just like I either end up like calling the police, or like getting the like calling the social worker, and
Uh-huh.
it's not working out. And it felt really it felt really bad. It's like, why am I here?
I see.
And it's like, what's my purpose?
Yeah, you weren't grounded at all. Like you're still just bouncing from place to place,
Right.
like not
And
really aimlessly too, right? You don't know where you're
yeah,
going with this now, right? At least
yeah, yeah,
before you had an aim. It was like
yeah.
escape,
I'm gonna go to
go to
China.
South Korea,
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
Yeah,
That was
eventually.
my goal.
Uh-huh.
And I'm just lost,
Uh-huh.
right? And I'm like, I don't know if I can, like, and yeah, I don't know if I could finish the high school. So like I fell into this like really deep depression of like I don't want to do anything else. Like
I see.
I
Wow.
I'm done.
Interesting.
Like I'm really done. And like I would just stay up all night
Uh-huh.
just watching, to escape from this reality of like what am I doing?
Wow.
Yeah, just spend
You really are lost. Yeah.
yeah, I just spend like countless hours just like on
Wow.
my phone, just
That's
laying in the
fascinating.
bed, just I didn't do anything.
And you've been lost before. You've been lost, like not knowing where you're going
No,
in
yeah,
the middle of China. But after having arrived in the land of opportunity, you were more lost than
yeah,
you
yeah,
ever were before.
yeah, and let me tell you,
Wow.
getting lost in your thoughts and not knowing what to do,
Uh-huh.
compared to like, physically lost, like it's 100 times, like million times worse.
Yeah.
Because when you're physically lost, like I can always like, okay, like, I can try to figure something out.
Yeah.
But when you're mentally lost, like you need someone to guide you.
yeah.
Like you need someone who is better in therapy, right? So that's why you
That's
go to
right.
therapy.
Uh-huh.
And yeah, it was really tough. And I mean, now I think back, like I think that's the reason why I learned English so much faster than any other
Really?
other immigrants, because I just
because you're watching TV.
spend just like many hours just watching Family Guy, and just
Interesting. Hey, there's
movies.
a silver lining right there.
Yeah, I mean that's the positive side.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, and yeah, it was really tough, like
Mm.
what to do. And yeah, and my social worker just coming to me like every like day,
Uh-huh.
basically driving down to like Concord, and
Wow.
he was saying, you got this, you can do it,
wow. Oh,
don't
that's
give
so
up.
Sweet.
He gave me on my wedding, he gave me this T-shirt that says "Never give up."
Oh.
he always he was
Because
just
you
like,
never did.
yeah, I guess I
I mean,
didn't.
just think about how many times, like, as much as you think you escaped too many challenges, as opposed to fighting against them. Like, you could have given up and not escaped the second time,
True.
right? Like,
True.
you could have was like, oh God, like having to do this epic escape on the train. You could have given up then,
True.
yeah,
True.
or you in the middle of China, and like all those places. But that's right.
Mhm.
I mean, that's what brought you here today.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. I think I don't know. I guess it's like a personality, or it's a blessing, right? It's a
Yeah, I mean,
blessing
it's
that
definitely part of the gift that you have. I know that your uh, uh, boss at your work shared that you guys did this like work exercise thing that showed like you did a survey or something that
yeah,
showed
yeah,
like
yeah.
what are your
It's a
strengths, what
good,
are your weaknesses,
yeah.
and yours was like very overwhelming positivity or something
Uh,
like that.
hmm.
Yeah,
Yeah, yeah.
it's
I
a
remember
gift.
that. I remember that. Yeah, it is. It is. Yeah, I'm a unrealistically optimist. Optimistic. Like I don't know. I guess like maybe it's like in my thing. It's like yeah, like a perspective wise, like having to go through all of that and just
Mm,
any problem now it just seems just really
that's
small
right.
and also like because I'm in such a I guess I'm in a good place like
Uh-huh.
in mentally, spiritually, physically,
Yeah.
but I guess like back in 2015, like when I was just like staying up like 24 hours straight and then
Wow.
going to sleep 48 hours straight,
Oh my.
eating like a whole like a Pizza Hut pizza, for food.
Yeah, man likes pizza.
Yeah, I guess
And
like
Pizza
when you're
Hut.
in that moment, it's really
Uh-huh.
hard to see that. Like it's really hard to bring
Mm,
yourself back up and like
yeah.
yeah.
Right.
So I guess like the reason how yeah, okay, so let me just go back and yes, believe in achieve. I saw this so one of my friend actually wore this a nice a hoodie
Uh-huh.
that said fake it until you make it.
Yeah. Yeah. I also heard a like nicer version of it, which was hone it until
Own it.
own it. Yeah, I think that's what it was.
Yeah,
Yeah.
but I do believe that, it's like I think you tell yourself that you're gonna do something, right?
Uh-huh.
And then you basically bring yourself to do it,
Uh-huh.
right? And you basically become who you believe you are,
I see. It's a
almost, right?
self-fulfilling prophecy.
Yeah, self-fulfilling
So if you
prophecy.
keep
Yeah,
telling yourself that you're a failure,
you are gonna be. Yeah,
uh-huh.
you're afraid to try it again, because
Right.
you think
Yeah.
that you're gonna
You're limiting
fail.
yourself.
Right,
Mm-hmm.
right.
Yeah.
Um,
Wow. What an inspirational story, Charles. Well, thank you for the encouragement. I mean, what kept you going other than just like believing? Because there's so many realistic hurdles, literally, like
yeah,
having to risk your life so many times,
yeah.
not knowing where to go, just like being in danger constantly. What kept you going
Mm.
in your escape journey until you arrived at America? And then it seems that after you arrived here, like a lot of people like social workers perhaps
Yeah.
helped. Like,
Hmm.
what were your motivations? Like, how did they shift over time?
Um, I like like a lot of my motivations came from like just having a regular life, like having a family,
Oh.
and just imagining
Just chasing that, like your dream life, which was, pretty normal,
yeah, having a
average life.
yeah, having an American dream.
Uh-huh.
Well,
It is American
sounds
dream.
it sounds very cliche, isn't it?
But it's true.
American
You
dream.
achieved it. Yeah. I
But-
mean, it's
but
a
yes,
huge dream if you're
I
coming from
actually
North
did.
Korea.
Yeah, I actually did. And that, yeah, it's like, yeah, one day I get to drive a nice car.
Uh-huh.
One day I get to have, I get to be married.
Yeah.
And one day I get to have a place of my own.
So you had those dreams,
And-
like as you were going through your journey.
Yeah, yeah. As I was
Wow.
like having a really tough time, like
Uh-huh.
even though I'm depressed, right?
Uh-huh.
And like, yeah, I want those. Like
Oh, I
I
see.
do. Like whenever I watch a movie or like a Family Guy, for example, I'm Peter Griffin. Come on, man.
Oh, no. Peter Griffin inspired you to the family life. That's awesome.
Thank you. Like yeah, and also having good friends around you. And I've heard this like many times, and I've personally experienced it many times, is that like, God works through people,
Yeah.
and he puts like people in your life for a reason, and they appear for a reason.
Yeah,
you know,
right.
and when God introduced to somebody, it's to, I personally think, is to
Mhm.
either give you a blessing or either
Mhm.
give you it's all a blessing, right? Either
That's
it's a
true.
lesson
Yeah,
or
yeah.
it's all
Right.
a lesson. So yeah, meeting different kind of people and having good friends around me, like my social worker, for example,
Mhm.
right? He
Yeah.
he basically drove from San Jose to Concord daily
Oh,
and just like knocking on my door So I'll be like, go away.
Oh, really?
No, I didn't say that,
Okay,
but like I'm like, who are you?
Just getting up from your 48-hour nap.
Yeah, and then he's like, Charles, like, why aren't you going to school? And like, why aren't you not doing that?
Wow.
I got a question. Oh, Mel says therapy. Yes,
Yeah,
absolutely.
thank you.
Getting a professional help. I think that's a very important step to go into.
Yeah.
Believe and achieve. It's very difficult to escape the victim mindset. When it comes down to it, you have realized that you have to do it for yourself. Exactly. I think. I feel like this is kind of like trajectory changing a little bit, but a lot of us are, I guess, entitled.
We are all a little bit.
Yeah, we're all in
Yeah.
ourselves like entitled, and I don't know. I feel like when I came to America, right? My social workers and they're just so nice to me because
Mhm.
like, oh yeah, you've been through this, and you deserve it because you survived it, you did it.
Oh, yeah.
I didn't feel like I was getting like, no, why are you doing that? It's
Oh.
like, why?
I see.
But I've noticed that a lot of people are just like, oh, I want more. Like I want more and more. It's like,
I see.
no, I feel like I deserve this. Like I feel like this is like like you know what I mean? Like a
yeah. I mean, people kind of get used to the privileges they are given to them. They're given, right, and then over time, people start to take it for granted, and it becomes just as if they whatever privileges they were given, whatever grace they've been given, feels like it's now their right. I think it's human nature. We're all very broken creatures, and it's easy for us to fall into that and start losing our attitude of gratitude and so on and
Mhm.
so forth.
Yeah. Um. Yeah. So I think, and yeah, I've realized that. I feel like I've realized that it's like, okay, like I have to like make it happen. Like
Mm.
it's not over yet. If that makes
Uh-huh.
sense. It's like my escape has not finished yet.
Uh-huh. Right.
But yeah, it was a difficult journey
Uh-huh.
to
I mean, to say the least. Come on. Yeah. Whew.
um and yeah, I'm grateful to have friends,
Uh-huh.
and the friends that help me to grow
Uh-huh.
and help me to learn. Like
Yeah.
either the bad friends, good friends, the worst friends, and those friends eventually. One of my friend actually bought me a 21 shot of alcohol when I turned 21. And
And you survived that?
I survived that.
Oh my
yeah.
goodness. Well, you were prepared from North Korea with a homebrew
Right.
from a
Yeah.
young age.
Yeah. I feel
That's
like after
funny.
like 3 shots, I don't remember what happened, but and I don't remember how I got home, but yeah,
Somehow you did.
somehow I survived.
Yeah, I mean it's awesome, and thank you, Epic Hawk, for your continued comment, saying a lot of people get caught up in this victim mindset after going through something bad and use it as an excuse to give up rather than do your best. Of course, I mean it's I can't blame them. It depending on what the trauma was, it would be really discouraging to or just scary to try to pick yourself back up and try again. The Epic Hawk says that you have been a great example to others, Charles. So thank you for being the inspiration.
Well, thank you
Yeah, and
for
thank you for blessing us, Epic Hawk.
yeah. Thank you so much for listening to my story, Mike. And I mean, I feel like we are not going to finish my story.
Yeah, I don't
by
think
this
so.
evening.
I mean, we say we're gonna wrap up here, but I know that you have more coming. I know that
lot
at
more
some
coming.
point in our shared lives in the United States, without knowing it, we both lived in the same city.
Yes.
He worked as something. I'm not gonna spoil it at a Walmart that I used to frequent.
Oh my
And there is a
gosh,
good chance we
dude.
may have just passed
Yes,
each other or
we
something.
may have.
And we gotta go through all those stories.
nitty gritty little
And
things.
there's so much that has happened since you
Yeah.
arrived and right now too.
Yeah.
So thank you for joining us again. And the story will continue. We will look into that issue where we seem to have missed a couple of episodes. We want to make sure that the Charles's Chronicles are well
it
documented.
is
So
correct.
we'll double check that. Thank you for bringing that to our attention.
Alrighty. thanks everyone. I hope to see you guys next week.
Thank you.
Thank
Have a
you.
good one.
Have a good one.